Hello and welcome to the screencast about the Bareos23 PostgreSQL plugin. What I want to show you in this screencast is what is the Bareos PostgreSQL plugin, why do we need a new plugin, what are the advantages over the existing old Postgres plugin that we already have, how the plugin works, and how you can migrate from the old Postgres plugin to the new PostgreSQL plugin. So what is the PostgreSQL plugin? The PostgreSQL plugin of Bareos makes consistent PostgreSQL database backups. It does not do a database dump. Instead, it interacts with the PostgreSQL database server to create a consistent state on the file system, and after the consistent state of the file system has been created by the PostgreSQL server itself, the plugin backs up the database files. Why even do we need a new plugin? The API that the old plugin used was removed from PostgreSQL in PostgreSQL 15. As Bareos23 drops the Python 2 support, also changes in the plugin need to be done. The legacy code in the old plugin had some drawbacks and needs modernization. And the old plugin also did not have table space support, which now is available in the new plugin. An overview about the features of the new plugin. The new plugin uses the recommended non-exclusive backup API, which is available already since PostgreSQL 10 and up to the newest version 16 that just was released. The new plugin also supports table spaces. It requires Python at least version 3.6 and the PostgreSQL API module PG8000 in version 1.16 or newer. The new plugin only consists of one source file, and the plugin name is PostgresQL. Watch out, the old one was called Postgres. The PostgreSQL plugin verifies that the PostgreSQL major version between related backups stays the same, because otherwise PostgreSQL does not guarantee that you are able to recover such backups that have been backed up by mixed major PostgreSQL versions. For a quick overview, a comparison table between the two plugins, the old one called Postgres and the new one PostgreSQL. The old Postgres plugin could back up Postgres versions from 9 to 14. It was available in Python with version 2 and 3. And the backup mode was the exclusive backup mode. Table spaces have not been supported in the old version. The new PostgreSQL plugin supports Postgres versions from 10 to 16 and probably also newer versions that come out in the future. Only Python version 3 is supported, and the backup mode is the non-exclusive backup mode. And in the new plugin also table spaces are supported. Let's have a look at the full backup procedure. When the backup starts, the file daemon plugin will issue the pg-backup-start command to the PostgreSQL database server. The database server will then prepare the database for online backup and synchronize the database files into the data directories. When this is complete, the pg-backup-start command returns the log sequence number when the online backup mode starts. During the online backup mode, the PostgreSQL cluster still stays operational and will write any changes to the database in write-ahead log files in the write-ahead log files directory. During the online backup mode, the file daemon plugin will back up the database files from the data directories of the PostgreSQL cluster. When this is complete, the file daemon plugin will issue the pg-backup-stop command to the PostgreSQL cluster to inform the cluster that the backup of the data directories files is complete. The PostgreSQL cluster then will switch the write-ahead log file and return the log sequence number, the label file, and the table space map file to the file daemon plugin. The PostgreSQL cluster then will leave the online backup mode and continue the normal operation. Next, the FD plugin will backup the newly created write-ahead log files that have been created during the online backup mode. And finally, it will add the required files for restores as virtual files to the backup job. After that, the full backup of the database is complete. Let's have a look how incremental backups happen. When an incremental backup starts, the file daemon plugin receives from the backup server the information about the PostgreSQL major version that has been used for the prior backup, the last backup stop time, and the last log sequence number from the previous backup. Then these information is checked for inconsistency, and if an inconsistency is detected, the backup procedure will exit. Otherwise, the FD plugin calls PG switch wall, which asks the PostgreSQL server to switch and create a new write-ahead log file, and the Postgres cluster will then write newer changes to the write-ahead log file, and the one that was switched, the existing one, will then be backed up, including all older write-ahead log files that have been created since the previous backup. At the end of the backup, again the information about the PostgreSQL major version, the last backup stop time, and the last log sequence number will be stored. Now the incremental backup is completed. Now let's have a look how we can restore a backup created with the PostgreSQL plugin. To recover a PostgreSQL database, we first need to shut down the database and remove the files stored in the data directories of the PostgreSQL server. After that, we restore the backup created with Bareos, and the Bareos plugin will then restore the backed up file into the data directories. It will restore the write-ahead logs that have been backed up before. It will also restore the file's backup label, recovery signal, and if table spaces have been used, also the table space map. After all the data has been recovered to the data directories and the write-ahead log archive directories, the administrator has to configure the restore command in the PostgreSQL configuration file. When this is done, the administrator will start the PostgreSQL server. The PostgreSQL server will then automatically understand that it needs to recover the database. It will start up the database cluster. It reads the backup label, recovery signal, and table space map. And together with the restore command configured in the PostgreSQL configuration file, it will recover the database to the end of the last write-ahead log file. When this is done, the PostgreSQL server will automatically start the normal database operation. Finally, the administrator should verify that the recovery was successful and all expected data has been recovered. If you want to have a relatively easy way to see the PostgreSQL plugin in action, we do have a system test in the source code of Bareos that automatically does test the PostgreSQL plugin. So you can have a look at the subdirectory system tests test py3 plug fd PostgreSQL. There you will see that the scripts that are there do a backup, do a restore, and a verify of the backup of a PostgreSQL database server. This is very handy to check how things work and see in working environment. Now we want to have a look how can we switch from the old to the new plugin. To make a switch easier, we have packaged both plugins, so the old one and the new one, in the bareos-fd plugin PostgreSQL package. The old name is Postgres, the new is PostgreSQL. The old plugin was altered so that it emits a warning message during backup that this plugin is going to be removed in Bareos24, so that if you are still using the old configuration without changes, you will get informed about that and cannot and will not be surprised when the config will not work in Bareos24 anymore. So please switch to the new version of the plugin. You have about 1 year of time to do so. How to switch to the new plugin? You should adapt the configuration to use the new plugin. For details, you can have a look at our documentation. You should review the configuration of the new plugin, make sure full incremental backups work. You should verify that the restore works, and as already mentioned, both plugins can be used in parallel during migration. That's it. I hope it was interesting for you. For more information, as always, please check the documentation in docs.bareos.org. For questions, you can ask at our mailing list or have a look what's already discussed there at bareos-users@googlegroups.com. The Bareos source code is available at GitHub. You can have subscription support consulting services via www.bareos.com. And if you want to contact me directly, you see my email address here. Thank you very much and have a good day. Bye-bye.